50 Famous Fairy Tales. Tale number 6. The Poor Man and the Rich Man. In old times, angels often took the form of men and walked the earth. While one of these was wandering about, night came upon him before he had found shelter. At last he saw down the road ahead of him 2 houses, standing opposite one another. One was large and handsome, while the other was miserably poor. The angel decided to ask for lodging in the large house, since it would be less burdensome for a rich man to entertain a guest. He knocked, and the rich man, peering out the window, asked the stranger what he sought. The angel replied, "I seek a night's lodging." The rich man looked scornfully at the stranger's ragged clothes and shook his head, saying, "I cannot take you in. If I shelter everyone who knocks at my door, I might soon be a beggar myself. Find shelter in some other house." And he banged the window and locked it. The good angel immediately turned his back upon the large house and went over to the little house. Here he had scarcely knocked when the door was opened. The poor man took one look at the stranger and said, come in, stay here tonight. It is quite dark, and you can go no farther today." This reception pleased the angel very much. The wife of the poor man also bade him welcome. Holding out her hand, she said, "Make yourself at home, good sir. Though we do not have much, we will gladly share it with you." Then she put some potatoes in the coals, and while they roasted, she milked her goat. When the table was laid, the good angel sat down and ate with the poor couple. The coarse food tasted good, because such a warm welcome went with it. After they had finished eating, the wife called her husband aside and said, "Let us sleep on straw tonight, and let this poor wanderer have our bed. He has been walking all day, and is doubtless tired." The good angel at first refused to take the bed, but at last yielded up to their entreaties, and lay down on the soft feather mattress, while they made a straw couch upon the floor. The next morning the couple arose early, and cooked their guest a breakfast of the best that they had. When the angel finished eating, he prepared to set out again. As soon as in the doorway, he turned around and said to his host, "Because you are so good and generous, you may wish 3 times, and each time I will grant what you would desire." The poor man replied, "What more can I wish for than eternal happiness, and that we too, so long as we live, may have health and strength and our daily bread. For the 3rd thing, I do not know what to wish." "Would you like a new house in place of this old one?" "Oh, yes," said the man. "If I may keep it in this spot, it would be welcome." The last wish was fulfilled at once, and the old house became a new red brick cottage. Then, giving the couple his blessing, the angel went along down the road. Shortly thereafter, the rich man arose. He looked out of his window and saw a handsome new house of red brick standing where the old hut had been. "Come and look," he called to his wife. The wife was as curious as her husband, and went across the road at once and asked the poor man what had happened. He told her the story of the wanderer and the 3 wishes he had granted. When the man had finished his tale, the rich man's wife ran home and told her husband. "Ah, had only I known it!" he exclaimed. "The stranger came here first, but I sent him away." "Hurry then," cried his wife. "Mount your horse, and perhaps you may overtake the man. Tell him you meant to let him stay. Then you may ask 3 wishes for yourself." The rich man followed this advice, and soon overtook the good angel. He begged him not to think ill of him, saying that he had gone to get the key for the door, and returned to find the wanderer gone. If only the angel would come back, he was welcome to stay. The angel promised that he would stop at the rich man's house on his return. Then the rich man asked if he might not have his 3 wishes, as his neighbor had. "Yes," said the angel, "you may, but it will not be good for you, and it would be better if you did not wish." But the rich man was sure he wanted the wishes, so the angel said, "Ride home, and your wishes will be granted." The rich man was satisfied, and as he rode homeward, he began to consider what he should wish. While he was thinking, he let his reins fall loose, and his horse stumbled, so that the man nearly fell. "You dumb beast!" he cried out. "I wish you would break your neck." He had no sooner said this than the horse fell to the ground and never moved again. Thus the rich man's first wish was fulfilled. The rich man, being thrifty by nature, would not leave the saddle behind. He cut it off, slung it over his back, and traveled on by foot. "I still have 2 wishes," he thought to himself, and was so comforted. As he walked slowly homeward, the sun became very hot. The saddle hurt his back, and besides, he had not yet decided what to wish for next. "Even if I should wish for all the riches in the world," he said to himself, "something else will occur to me later. I must manage to make a wish so that nothing at all shall remain for me to wish for." As he walked along, the sun grew hotter, and the saddle rubbed his back until it was as sore as a burn. Then he thought of how his wife sat comfortably at home in a cool room. This thought angered him, and without knowing it, he said aloud, "I wish she were sitting on this saddle and couldn't get off." As soon as he spoke these words, the saddle disappeared from his back, and he realized that his second wish had been fulfilled. Cursing himself for a fool, he hurried home, determined to lock himself in his room to consider his last wish. But when he arrived home, he found his wife sitting on the saddle in midair, weeping and wailing because she could not get off. "Stop your crying," he said to her. "I will wish for all the riches in the world. Only keep sitting there." But his wife only wailed the louder, saying, "Of what use are all the riches of the world if I have to sit on this saddle? You wished me on it, now you must wish me off." She made so much racket that the man thought his ears would burst. "All right," he cried, "I wish you may get off." There went his third wish. His wife was free, but the rich man gained nothing from his wishes except worry, trouble, scolding, and a dead horse. But the poor couple were contented and happy to the end of their lives. The end.